Welcome back to the High School Fan Zone on a Tuesday night. I may have to have Kyler switch these two segments, work some magic, because we need to go back and talk about your second half against El Paso Americas. You're down 29-22. Very key play happens right off the bat. You kick out, I don't know if it was intentional, it was a little pop-up kickoff. They kind of hesitated, didn't cover it real quick, and I just said the name. Was it who?
Armand White.
Yep. Another coach told me this today. On a muff punt or a kickoff like that, I mean, part of it's the other team has to make a mistake, but it's also your guys playing hard, not easing up on a play. And he made sure that he was in the right place at the right time. He recovers it, and that was one of the plays that changed the game.
100%. You know, like, again, a trade-off because they onside kicked it multiple times to us and recovered one.
Yep.
And we were constantly having to make sure that we were adjusting and being aware. And, you know, they opened up the game with an onside kick and we recover it. And so coming out of halftime and we're kicking off to them, I guess they thought we were going to play their game with them, but we're not. They come out in their hands team and we're just going to do our normal pooch back to the 30. Well, the kid tries to back up and it bounces off his helmet, and our kids are hustling down, and Armand did a great job of getting the ball for us, and then we immediately convert that into points. And so that was huge because now instantly the game is tied.
That was a theme in the second half, converting points, because I think you had the ball 5 times, 4 full times, including that one, which wasn't a full field, but it was a full possession, and you never came off the field without points until the end when the game was decided. That offense didn't get rattled by the 3 turnovers, kept doing what you do well, and Deuce Moore was a man possessed.
100%.
I asked him, are you pretty good when you run mad? And he looked at me, kind of nodded his head, and he smiled. He knew what I was asking. And you said after the game, what was the word you used?
What's that?
You said
ran with a vengeance.
Ran with a vengeance, and he ran hard, and your offensive line just brought their lunch pails and went to work.
100%. You know, I'm very proud of that unit. They're, the couple changes we made 2 weeks ago has been fantastic. We've ran the ball the way we wanted to run the ball the last 2 games, and we need to continue to do that. And it was nice to be able to, call power and call counter, call zone, and go get the chunk yardage that we wanted, and then still had the passing game there and hit some big passes. Had a big 70-something yard touchdown to Quarren there in the second or third quarter, and so. We've had that balance on offense that we really wanted to strive for at the beginning of the year and didn't have, and it's here now at the right time.
Yeah, that was a good call by the play caller on that one, because you softened them up a little bit with Deuce, and then I think on that drive, I think he maybe ran the ball once or twice for 7 or 8 yards, and you have them kind of back on their heels, and all of a sudden they had to look up, and there's Quarren going down the field.
Makes it easier on you as a play caller when you see 2nd and 2.
Yeah, no doubt. Deuce, and I think I described him, and he usually runs like a bowling ball going downhill anyway, but when you light a fire under him, or he lights fire under himself maybe, man, I wouldn't want to get in front of him. He's not a huge dude, but he's big enough, and he runs so hard. He's going to do some carnage.
He's physical. He led block on one of the power runs and just melted the defensive end. So, I mean, he can do it all. He's a great blocker and physical runner, can get outside and show little flashes of speed. I mean, he's not going to be a track guy that houses it, but he had a couple of runs at 40+, and so he's a special kid.
And go back to last year when Judd Thrash stole him from you and put him at nose tackle for a while there. So that tells you how
you got to be physical to play a nose tackle.
Real quick, you rattle off that offensive line, because you told me you tweaked it a little bit. Who are those 5 guys?
From right to left, you have junior Noah Gonzalez. Right guard is senior Jacob Mosley. Center is junior Brady Curry. Left guard is junior Matt Johnson, and left tackle is senior Felipe Pacina.
Good mix of guys who have been there for a while and some other guys who have kind of earned the right to do it. Monterey against Fort Worth Arlington Heights, 7 p.m. Thursday at Shotwell Stadium. That's on 93.7 The Eagle. The Plainsmen are looking to get beyond the area round for the first time since 2017. Went on to the regional round that year. It was the second time in 4 years at that, or 5 years at that point. Jason, come back. We'll talk to you Monday once you guys get it done.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in the high school fan zone in the Mustang fan zone after this break.
Bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the high school fan zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm going to try to follow Kyler's rules a little bit better here. And although if these girls keep talking about how they became wrestlers, I may get intrigued again. I think I snuck this in before we got, we had to go to break. Coronado was ranked 10th in the state in 5A by WrestlingTexas.com. First time you guys have been mentioned like that, Cory?
Yes, sir. We've had some kiddos fall within ranks individually, but as a team, this would be the first time that I know of personally that we have ranked.
Tells you you're doing something right if you're catching the right eyes.
Great kids, man. They come to practice ready to go. We wrestle tough. They wrestle tough. Very focused, so they're extremely easy to coach, and we're just going to keep getting better. And, our great kids help the ones get, they evolve them. So I think our program will continue just holding that line and increasing.
And you mentioned LISD wrestling. Lubbock High has been really good for a while.
Yes, sir.
Did they win a state as a team? Or I know they've had some individuals.
I haven't been around to see them do it. I'm sure Liao would probably know. I'm thinking they have. I mean, they have definitely ranked both on boys and girls. They're usually a very, very solid team all the way around.
And I know Monterey's made some inroads, and so has Estacado.
Yeah, last year Estacado with Honor Trevino being ranked and doing his thing was great for Estacado, and several Monterey guys that made it to regionals. And of course, the powerhouse Lubbock High has always been very good at wrestling with all the kiddos that they've put through, the state and all into Wayland.
And then your high school alma mater, they popped up all of a sudden, and I'm pretty sure their girls, they won state last year, so they didn't waste any time.
No, they had some solid competitors as well, really well coached by Rios out there. So very, very tough here in the city of Lubbock. We have great talent spread out within all the schools, so it's always fun to kind of match up against each other and just, get better at the end of the day, but, a little bit of competitiveness between the schools.
And to me, that's one reason it's getting better, because everybody pushes each other. Like these girls can talk about it. You don't bragging rights is a big thing in football, especially. But you don't want to run across your friends out that you go to other schools and them talking about, especially wrestling. So they're beating you. That's not a good thing to have to talk about, is it? How have you guys done against other Lubbock wrestlers? It's okay to brag.
So, a lot of us attend like the same club, so
Yep.
I have like bonds with other people from other schools, and I've had to wrestle like my teammates, and it's really tough when you get out there and have to wrestle someone from basically your family, because we're all really close. Lubbock wrestling's really close.
I was going to let one of you say that, because I thought that was the case, that it's in wrestling that's probably a little bit like volleyball, where you see each other so much on the same team that it may be a little bit hard. Do you have a hard time wrestling somebody that you're on the same team with a different time of year?
Really, it kind of depends. Like for me, I kind of just put it to the side when I'm on the mat, because I think of only I know they want to win, but I want to win more and stuff. But then off the mat, and as soon as the match is done, then I go back to being friends again. I kind of taught myself how to separate the two. It took me a little bit to learn how to do that.
See, we need high school kids to teach adults a little bit more about that in life. So explain how Jake came to be the boys coach. He came in to coach football, graduated from UNT last spring.
Yes, sir.
Decorated track and field athlete at UNT. I know Mike Meeks was excited about the chance to hire him to come in football. For both of you guys, kind of talk about how that worked out.
For me, we worked together in football. We worked offensive line together this year. We had a really good chemistry, pushing kids on the same page, held each other accountable, which I think is big in our job. Constantly bouncing ideas off of each other to get better and what have you. And we had a scenario come up, and I went to go ask him. He does a lot of great things coaching-wise. He's very invested in kids. He has great culture. He's the type of guy that if you said, I want this done this way, he's a yes sir, go get it type of guy. And at the end of the day, you can ask him questions and be like, hey, how do I make this better? And he's also one of those guys. So for me, it was an easy decision.
We're coming up on a break this time. I know I'm hearing music. So, Jake, I'll get you to talk more about this, but you've never coached wrestling, never wrestled. So this is a new, for a young coach, this is, first of all, when you hear a coach say, this guy is willing to do something new, that's a big deal. So when we come back, I want you to talk about what appealed to you to jump in and be that guy. So got one more segment in the Mustang Fan Zone. We'll come back and talk Coronado Wrestling after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the latest news from Coronado Athletics. This is the Mustang Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the Mustang Fan Zone. We've got one more segment to talk Coronado Wrestling here. So when we left, that sounds like a soap opera lead out or something. Jake, you get to Coronado, you know you're coaching football, which is it's a family business. This opportunity came up and you told me that you went to him and said, hey, I'd like to try this. What was the motivation? What kind of led you that direction?
Coach Nichols always brags that he has the best kids in the building. And so I wanted to come see for myself, And so I had the opportunity to come watch practice, and then I was like, man, if I have the chance, this is really something I'd be interested in doing. And then later that week or within the next week, an opportunity came up, and I jumped on it immediately. And he's been right. We have the best kids in the building, and I'm not afraid to say that, and I brag on them every chance I get.
We were talking during the break there, the fact that you guys both coach offensive line, there's a natural connection there. Now, we were also talking that Bo Davis from Lubbock High is not an offensive lineman. He's a really good wrestler. But how would it help your offensive lineman if you can convince, and I'm going to guess that Coach Parksman's he's going to be asked, recruit some of these guys, get them to, why will that help you guys in football as much as it will help you in wrestling?
I firmly believe inside the trenches it's wrestling but in football terms. So understanding how to control your body and someone else's is the game inside the box. And sometimes we ask linebackers and running backs, sometimes they got to put their face in the fan and go get it.
Yep.
And you can always, to me personally, tell a wrestling kid from a football kid, because they will stick their face in a tackle, whether they got to run through two guards or whatever that is to go get it done. And it's just a different mentality, different breed of kids. So if you come to wrestling and it translates, you're just meaner. You're better with your hands, better with your feet. Usually offensive linemen are a little bit more unbalanced and kind of, don't understand how to control their body language and their center of gravity. And wrestling is definitely there, because if you are off any point with a good wrestler, it ends with you on your back at some point.
We're talking about boys, but I want to talk about the two you brought here. I'm a two-time girl dad, and I'm trying to, and I've got a senior in high school at Lubbock High. I'm trying to think, if I told her what you said, go stick your face in the fan, she'd look at me like, "Were you crazy?" Now, I'd like to think that maybe I've taught my daughters to be mentally tough. I don't know how tough they would be compared to wrestlers. When you start coaching and you get into coaching girls wrestling, let me see, are you a dad?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I am.
Baby girl or baby
boy?
So this is foreign territory to you still.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm 58 years old. If you get to the point where you can understand teenage girls 100%, I'll take advice from you. What's it been like to coach that? Because to me, that's a completely different sport.
Well, when I came over from Levelland, it's actually what I signed up for. Technically, my role is head girls coach. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes what I've seen in programs is the girls kind of get pushed to the side and it's all focused on the boys. And I can coach boys just as well as I coach the girls. It should be the same. They're not different. You got to coach them the same. I can stick probably any of my girls in pads and say, go shoot a double. And they would, 9 times out of 10, go shoot that double. Do they understand the game of football? No. But, watching these girls go from their sweet, bubbly personality, and they're very, very nice, to when they step on the mat and that light clicks, you'd be surprised. A lot of them have that meaner switch than the boys do, to be honest.
You do understand teenage girls a little bit.
So I enjoy it because I think the expectation is for boys to be rough and tough.
Yep.
I think the expectation is for girls to be soft and kind of just go through it. And that's not what we do here. They get coached the same way the boys do. And a lot of times, I'll be honest, I think our girls could run through the boys. And so we coach the same way. I love coaching them. Their matches are just as intense. I love watching them go from, how you doing to they put that headgear on and biting on their mouthpiece, and then they're glaring across from each other because it's just as much prideful for them. They want to be the best in the city. And so I enjoy coaching them. I prefer to coach them sometimes more than the boys because the girls love being coached by a guy who's going to get up there and say, there's no excuses. This is what we're doing. Because they want to be held to that same standard.
So an answer that both of you gave kind of ties into that when you both said, I couldn't find anything I was good at. That develops. I've covered high school athletes enough to know when you don't think you're good at something, then all of a sudden you realize you are, that little chip on your shoulder digs in a little bit deeper and makes you want to be that much better. You just heard Coach talking about you. How tough our practice, when you first started practicing with him, because I'm going to guess club is competitive, but maybe when you've got that red and gold on, it's a little bit different. How tough are coaches' practices?
They're really tough. It's really tough conditioning, and it'll push you to get better.
I agree. It's tough, especially after going to school all day, sitting down. It's just got a different breed, really. A different mindset you got to get into for practice.
That's going to wrap us up. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to these girls and boys wrestlers at Coronado now that I've gotten to know them a little bit. This is the High School Fan Zone. We'll get them back on later this season. I'm Randy Rosetta. We'll be back tomorrow night with Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper.